you all completed the work? Again, I insist you to read the textbook thoroughly. You must be thorough with each and everything that is given in the textbook. Even if you are using a reference book or any other book to refer, please see that you stick on to the syllabus given by the NCERT. Another thing, always keep in your mind that you are in 10th standard and you are going to appear for the board exam. I am not telling this to scare you, instead to feel the seriousness of studies. Never do your work for the teachers or for the parents. Even if anyone is not there behind you, you must always be serious in your studies. Please do your work systematically. Since you have only one subject per day, there is enough and more time to complete your work and also to finish study. The omitted portions will be given to you. Already I have told you the second chapter is not there. So do not spend your time in learning it. Reproduction chapter and the first chapter are the two chapters which includes many diagrams. So see that you draw and practice those diagrams. This chapter which we are taking to now, or we are studying now, that is heredity and evolution. Only the first part is there. That first part is very, very important. Hope you have practiced doing the crossing of the monohybrid cross. I had asked you to take a rough paper and do the crossing and practice, so that even if you have forgotten the ratio, monohybrid ratio of the F2 generation, phenotypic ratio, genotypic ratio, etc., if you know how to cross it, you can easily find out the ratio. So without doubt, you can write the answer. Hope you will take things seriously and do it. Once again, I remind you, many of you who submitted the notebook, your diagrams had not been labeled. Please see that always when you draw the diagram, labeling is very, very important. So write the answers. Whichever answers you are not able to present properly, or whichever answers you are not able to write, you please call me. I'll help you with that. And please answer to the previous year questions which I am giving you. Only then you will get used to different patterns of questions. So last class we had discussed monohybrid cross. What is the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation in a monohybrid cross? Phenotypic ratio? Yes, 3:1. What does 3 represent? Tall plants. What does 1 represent? Yes, dwarf plant. What is the genotypic ratio of F2 generation in a monohybrid cross? Well, it is 1:2:1. 1 represents pure tall, where both the alleles of the gene is same. That is, we had represented by using capital T, capital T. What does 2 represent? 2 represents the heterozygous tall or a hybrid tall, where one letter is denoted by capital T and the other letter is denoted by small t. So the two alleles are different. We call it as heterozygous. And the next one represents the recessive character. That is small t represents dwarfness. So the genotypic ratio of F2 generation in a monohybrid cross is 1:2:1. And from this cross, Mendel put forward the first law, that is the law of dominance. What do you mean by law of dominance? Certain characters, even if the alleles are different, the particular character can be expressed. When we crossed the tall plant with dwarf plant, in the F1 generation, all the plants produced were tall. But the parental characters, one was dwarf and other one was tall. But in the F1 generation, only one of the parental character was expressed. Does it mean that the other character was not there? Definitely no. The dwarfness was there, was inherited in the F1 generation, but it was not expressed. But when cell breeding was done with the F1 generation plants, in the F2 generation, both the parental characters were seen in the ratio 3:1. From this we can understand that certain characters will be inherited but will not be expressed. certain characters can express in the heterozygous condition, whereas certain characters can be expressed only in the homozygous condition. The character which can express itself, or the trait which can express its own character is height, which are the two traits, dwarfness and tallness. So the trait that can be expressed in the heterozygous condition, we call it as dominant. And the trait that can be expressed only in the homozygous condition, we call it as recessive. So in the monohybrid cross which we studied, tallness was a dominant character and dwarfness was the recessive character. Today we are going to discuss the dihybrid cross conducted by Mendel. And from this, by conducting a dihybrid cross, Mendel put forward the next there is law of segregation, law of independent assortment. Segregation can be studied from the monohybrid cross also. That I will be explaining to you. So now we will learn dihybrid cross and the laws put forward by Mendel. So before going to the dihybrid cross, what is a monohybrid cross? Just recall. It is a cross between two organisms of the same species which studies the inheritance of two traits for the same character. So the character which we learned was height. Which are the two traits for height? Tallness and dwarfness. Now compare it with dihybrid cross. What is a dihybrid cross? It is a cross between two organisms of the same species which studies the inheritance of a pair of factors or a pair of traits for two characters. Hope it is clear. It is a cross between two organisms of the same species which studies the inheritance of a pair, means two traits for two characters. For example, we are taking two plants of the same species. A tall plant, I am writing the dominant character with capital letter, the same color. Tall plant having round seeds is crossed with dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. So we have taken two plants of the same species having two pairs of traits. Which are the two pairs? Tall, round. These are the two characters, two traits, a pair of traits for two characters. Here which are the characters taken? We have taken height as one character and shape of the seed as second character. Height and shape of the seed. So a tall plant having round seeds, shape of the seed is round, is crossed with dwarf plant, height, dwarf plant with wrinkled seeds, shape of the seed is wrinkled. Clear? That is the first step. What is the procedure in all this experiment? He crossbred two plants with contrasting trait. Now how many contrasting characters have we taken in a single plant now? Two traits. Two characters we have taken. Which are the two characters in a single plant? Height and shape. Since two characters are considered in a single plant, we call it as dihybrid cross. Now it may be very clear to you. In monohybrid cross, only one character is considered in a cross. Last day we considered a tall plant, a tallness and dwarfness, height. Only height we considered in the cross. So if only one character is considered, we call it as monohybrid cross. If two characters are considered in a cross, in a single plant, we call it as dihybrid cross. So in one plant we have chosen as tall plant having round seeds, and another plant, what is the plant chosen? A dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. Can you guess what will be the type of plant found in the F1 generation? Will it resemble both the parents? Never. In all the experiments conducted by Mendel, the F1 generation plant resembled only one of the parent. What can it be? You know, if you take this, from this both are T, so one T. Both are R, one R. Form comes to one gamete. Here both are small t. So whichever comes doesn't make any difference. Whichever R comes doesn't make any difference. So this will be the gamete. When these both come together, you can see when these both come together, it will be capital T, small t, capital R, small r. Is it clear? Since both are capital, I have taken only one. 4, it will come together. Same, it is same. So when these both come together, in the F1 generation, the combination will be F1 generation, first filial generation, capital T, small t, capital R, small r. Can you guess what will be the phenotype? What will be the character for the phenotype? Yes, they will be, all the plants produced will be tall plant with round seeds. You know, capital T represents tall and capital R represents round. So even if one capital T and one capital R is there, the plant will be tall and has round seeds. Clear? So what is the next step in his experiment? He self-bred the F1 generation plant. Clear? This capital T, small t, capital R, small r is crossed with self-breeding. So again, capital T, small t, capital R, small r. So self-breeding is done. Why is self-breeding done? In order to produce the F2 generation plants. Now gametes. In this combination, there are possibilities for 4 types of gametes to be formed. 4 types of gametes can be formed. Because this I'll just draw it for you like we did the last class. There are 4 possibilities. This one capital T and R can come together. Capital T, capital R. Another possibility is this T and this R can come together. So it is capital T and small r. Another possibility. Next possibility is this small t and this capital R can come together. Small t and capital R. And the next possibility is small t and small r. These are the 4 possibilities. Is it clear? Same way here also we can see capital T, capital R can come, tall and round. Capital T, small r can come. Small t, capital R can come. And small t, small r can come. Capital T, capital R. Capital T, small r. Capital R. Small t, capital R. Small t, capital R and small t, small r. 4 types of gametes. Is it clear? Here itself 4 types of gametes can be formed. Here 4 types. So this is one gamete. Capital T, capital R is one gamete. Capital T, small r is another gamete. Small t, capital R is another gamete. Small t, small r is another gamete. 4 types of gametes. Here also capital T, capital R is one gamete. Capital T, small r another gamete. Small t, capital R another gamete. Small t, small r another gamete. So 4 types of gametes are formed. So when they fuse during zygote formation, there are again 8 different possibilities. So if we are going to cross like this, with this all these 4 you have to cross. Then with this gamete all these 4, with this another 4 and with this another 4, it will be too congested. It is very difficult to cross in this way and find out the progeny. To make the crossing easier, there is another method. We use a Punnett square. What is it called? Punnett square. P-U-N-N-E-T. Punnett square. By Punnett square is nothing like it is only like tables. We learn the tables in maths. You draw a column, you draw a table. You will draw a table like this. You will write the 4 gametes on top. Okay, which are the gametes? Capital T, capital R, capital T, capital R, capital T, small r, small t, capital R, and small t, small r. So 4 gametes on one side, next 4 gametes on the other side. So next gametes for capital T, capital R, capital T, small r, small t, capital R, and small t, small r. Once again I repeat. The 4 types, there are 4 possibilities. 4 types of gametes can be formed. If we have to cross like this, it is very difficult and maybe too congested. It may not be clear. For that we use a Punnett square. In a Punnett square, we write the 4 gametes on one side, these 4 gametes on one side, next 4 gametes vertically, one horizontally, first 4 gametes horizontally, next 4 gametes vertically. Then like we do in the maths tables, we can cross it. Capital T, this both you will write here. For example, capital T, capital T, capital R, capital R. This and this you will write here. This and this you will write here. I am not going to write here. You will do it from home and find out the ratio. And see what I am telling is tallying with what you got. Hope you understood. Once again I repeat. You draw the box table like this. Write the 4 gametes horizontally. 4 types of gametes vertically this side. Then you cross this both. This and this you will cross and write here. This and this you will cross and write here. You just have to take and write capital T, capital R, small r. Capital T, small t, capital R, capital R. Capital T, small t, capital R, small r. Like that you will join this and this here, this and this here, this and this here. Like that you will write. If there is any problem, you may just ask me. Hope you understood it. If I write this, then you won't have any work to do. You won't learn also. So I have showed one. For example, another one I will show you. This column and this column. When you write, what will be the result here in the last column? Yes. Small t, small t, small r, small r. So small t, small t, small r, small r. One I wrote. This corner I wrote. This corner also I have written. So remaining you will fill it and find the ratio. Ratio I will tell you. You see whether it is tallying with your result. Okay. Now, hope this much is clear to you. I am going to clean the board. Now, F1 generation, all the plants produced were tall plants having round seeds. In the F2 generation, the plants were produced in the ratio 9:3:3:1. What ratio is it? Phenotypic ratio. Phenotype of the plant was 9:3:3:1. In which generation? F2 generation. How did you get this? By doing the cross what we did in the table. So all of you should take a paper. On the back of the biology notebook, you must do this cross. It is very important and very important 3-mark question. Often asked for the board exam. How did Mendel prove that characters are inherited independently? For this question, this is the answer. So please do the crossing. Draw the box in your notebook, do the crossing and see if you are getting this ratio. If not, you can call me, I will explain to you once again. Now we will see what does each one represent. 9 is to, I am just writing it vertically, okay, 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Let us see what does each number represent. 9 plants are tall plants with round seeds. 9 plants were produced which were tall plants having round seeds. 3 plants were tall plants having wrinkled seeds. Were tall plants having wrinkled seeds. 3 plants were dwarf plants having round seeds. And 1 was dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. Is it clear? In the F2 generation, the phenotypic ratio was 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Among these plants, 9 plants were tall plants having round seeds. 3 were tall plants having wrinkled seeds. 3 were dwarf plants having round seeds. And 1 was dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. Always keep in your mind, when you calculate the ratio from the box, if there is one capital T, that is enough to represent tallness. Capital letter, if 1 is there, that character can be expressed. You learned already in the previous class. For roundness, if one capital R is there, that is enough to represent roundness. One T is, capital T is enough to represent tallness, and one capital R is enough to represent roundness. But to represent wrinkledness, how many small r should be there? 2. Always the same alphabet is used to represent the character, but one will be tall letter and other one will be small letter. Clear? So now, how did Mendel show that characters are inherited independently? From this cross, we are going to learn how the characters are inherited independently. What were the 2 parental characters in the beginning? Which were the parents selected for the cross? We selected 2 parents. Which were the 2 parents? What were the characters? One parent was tall plant having round seeds. And the second parent was a dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. In the F1 generation, all the plants produced were tall plants having round seeds. But in the F2 generation, tall plant having round seed is a parental character. Dwarf plant having wrinkled seed is also a parental character. So in the F2 generation, apart from the parental character, this is a parental character, this is a parental character. Apart from the parental character, 2 new combinations were seen. These are the 2 new combinations. Which are the 2 combinations? A tall plant having wrinkled seeds and dwarf plant having round seeds. Did we select a parent like that? No. These are the 2 combinations. Tall plant with wrinkled seeds and dwarf plant with round seeds are the 2 new combinations seen in the F2 generation. If tallness in the parent plant was tall plant with round seeds. If tallness and roundness were inherited in the same way without separating, can we get this 2 new combination? No. If tallness and roundness, we selected in one plant having tall plant having round seeds and another plant dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. If wrinkledness and dwarfness was inherited together, will there be any chance for a dwarf plant having round seeds and tall plant having wrinkled seeds? Definitely no. So from this experiment, Mendel put forward the third law, that is law of independent assortment. Though we are considering two characters in a single plant, these two characters are not inherited together. They get separated during gamete formation and they are inherited independently. Law of segregation. Each character gets segregated and they get inherited independently. Because characters are inherited independently, we get two new combinations in the F2 generation. That is tall plant with wrinkled seeds and dwarf plant with round seeds. Is it clear? Next, one more thing I told you, with monohybrid cross also you can explain the law of segregation. Dihybrid cross you can say because tallness and roundness are getting separated during gamete formation, characters are inherited independently. If you are taking a monohybrid cross, you know F1 generation all the plants produced were tall. But when we celebrate the F1 generation plant, in the F2 generation, both the parental characters were C. That was because the dwarfness was inherited in the F1 generation. Capital T, small t, we represent it like that. Though it had a small t in it, it was not expressed out. But in the next generation, this capital T and small t have got separated, segregated. And in the F2 generation, again recombination takes place and as a result, plants were produced in the ratio 3:1. So with this example also we can understand that characters get segregated, alleles get segregated during gamete formation and again they rejoin during fertilization. So with that, we have come to the end of the Mendel's dihybrid cross. So Mendel's dihybrid cross, the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation in the dihybrid cross is 9:3:3:1. What is the phenotypic ratio of a monohybrid cross in the F2 generation? 3:1. Never confuse monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. Hope it is clear to you. In the textbook, this type of explanation is not there. Once again I repeat. So when you attend the class, be very attentive and note down the points, only then you will understand how to write. In the same way as I told you in the previous class, please present the answer in 3 paragraphs. First paragraph, this question is also there in the textbook after the topic. How did Mendel show that characters are inherited independently? Mendel showed that characters are inherited independently by using a dihybrid cross or through a dihybrid cross. He selected 2 plants having 2 contrasting traits in a single plant. For example, a tall plant having round seed is crossed with dwarf plant having wrinkled seed. Write the alphabets which you use for each character. Capital T, capital T, capital R in the bracket. Is crossed with dwarf plant having wrinkled seeds. Small t, small r, small r. In the F1 generation, all the plants produced were tall plant with round seeds. Second paragraph, you write about F2 generation. When he celebrated the F1 generation plant, he got plants in the ratio 9:3:3:1. In that, 9 tall round, all this you will write. In the third paragraph, you will write, along with the parental characters, 2 new combinations were also seen. These 2 new combinations are formed only because characters are inherited independently. Like this, 3 paragraphs you have to write. Underline the main points. If you write like this, you will get full 3 marks. Hope the class is clear to you. Please learn properly and also prepare for your pre-midterm exam. This chapter I have not included for pre-midterm exam, but learn the remaining 2 chapters. Before you learn for the pre-midterm exam, make sure that you are thorough with this particular topic. Don't keep it for the next day. On the same day, finish learning and write the answer in your notebook.